Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of AB in the Films. I mentioned earlier in my Peanuts review that I was going to do something special for this one. Long story short, I can't do it. I can't make it happen. I was going to do something really big for this, but I couldn't get the people in time. I couldn't do it in time, and I really wanted to tell you what I think of this movie. But a couple things I want to address first before I get into this film, Spectre, or as I like to call it, Bond film number 24. A couple of things. Number one, there will be spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen this new movie and you really, really want to see it, I suggest you not listen to this. Quick recap of what I think of this before I get into it. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was good. I've been hearing that this movie's been getting a lot of mixed reviews, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, that's the way any James Bond movie usually goes. I mean, I can't think of one Bond film that a lot of people really, really like. Everybody's usually split on it. But, you know, you could say that for any movie that comes out. So that's one thing. There will be spoilers. And second, I might curse a little bit in this. I do curse at a movie whenever I get angry at it, and this one I won't be angry. But I might curse a little bit here and there. So if you're offended by cursing, all two of you out there, I believe, yeah, just want to give you a heads up. I don't usually give a heads up with that, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, so before I get into this movie, there are a couple of things I wanted to say. Well, I just said a couple of things. But I want to tell you this story. It's not really a story, but basically what happened to me while I was watching this film. Because I saw this movie on the evening of November 5th. The theater I went to was showing it on an IMAX screen, not in 3D, which got my attention. And it was at 7 o'clock. And it was on November 5th, the day before it officially comes out in the United States, because it's been playing, I think, over in Britain, like, I think the week before Halloween it came out. So it's been out for quite some time, actually. It just hasn't been in the States yet. So I went to go see it. I was really excited for this because, honestly, I'm going to come right out and say it. I'm not a big James Bond fan. But then again, that's like saying I'm not a fan of action movies, because if you watch the James Bond films that go all the way back to Dr. No, like, you'll realize any kind of action film that has been released in the last 30 to 40 years, hell, I'll say 50 years, they took something from James Bond, guys. They did. Whether you're aware of it or not, they really have. I mean, like, watch these movies again, and you'll notice. Like, you'll see it. But I'm not like the biggest James Bond fan. Like, if a new Bond movie comes out, I wasn't until recently, because a friend of mine that I'm working on stuff with, on certain, like a film project, I'm working with him on it. He's a big James Bond fan, so every time I've been over at his house, he's been telling me, like, oh, okay, so I know what happened on this movie, and then this film, and he's showing me all these movies, and I'm starting to realize, like, wow, they did steal a lot of stuff from the James Bond films. Because I haven't seen any of them. The only one I've seen is GoldenEye. Because that's the one I grew up with. You know, like, I remember seeing GoldenEye when I was 12 years old. I mean, for me, Pierce Brosnan is James Bond. Like, that was the best movie. I could watch that movie so many times. I love that movie. But he started showing me all these films, and we got up to, I think, Diamonds Are Forever, which is Bond movie number 7, I think. I could be wrong about that. And I'm starting to pick up on all these things. So we watched all the Sean Connery ones, and now we're into the Roger Moore era. But getting back to my story here in the theater, I went into this theater, and now that I knew a lot about James Bond and who the characters are and who Blofeld is and Q and M and all the characters, like, I kind of knew what I was getting into, because he had shown me, my friend who was showing me all the Bond movies, he had shown me Skyfall, because I didn't see Skyfall when it came out. So he showed me Skyfall because he told me Spectre is going to be kind of a sequel to Skyfall in some way. And I said, oh, okay. So I knew what I was getting into when I went in to see this. But I have to tell you, and this goes to all the parents out there, because I know I am not the only one that has experienced this. I'm sure you guys have. When you're sitting in... Now, okay, question for all you guys out there. If you're waiting anxiously for a film, and you want to see it, and you're excited, and you've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and for a lot of you, I'm pretty sure it's the new Star Wars movie, but you're waiting and waiting and waiting for a movie to come out, and it finally comes out, and you sit down, and you're ready to go, and before the movie begins, you see a couple waddling in with their 8-year-old kid. And you look, and he's the only 8-year-old kid in the theater. In a crowd of maybe 20 people. And he walks in, and you roll your eyes, and you think to yourself, this kid better know what shut the hell up means. Because if he doesn't, we got a problem. And guys, this kid would not shut the hell up. I mean, the second the Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2 trailer came on, this kid would not stop. And I started thinking, well, you know, it's the coming attractions. People like to talk here and there a little bit, you know. But once the movie starts, everyone will shut up. Apparently... Now, here's the thing. I can't really blame the kid, even though the kid looked like he was maybe 8 years old. So... Like, even when I was 8, I knew what common courtesy meant, okay? Like, I never talked in a movie, but that's me. A lot of kids don't know when to shut up. But, really, parents out there, because I see a lot of parents doing this. First of all, this kid had no interest in seeing this movie. This kid, and let me tell you how I know this. Throughout the entire movie, and here's the thing, where I was sitting, he was sitting 5 seats away from me, in the same row, mind you. And he constantly kept asking his parents, maybe every 15 minutes, I need to go to the bathroom. But he wouldn't whisper it, like a normal kid would. He was constantly screaming it out there so that we could all hear it in the middle of the movie. Can I go to the bathroom? I want to go see the Charlie Brown movie. Can we go see that instead? And guys, I didn't want to be one of those people. I didn't want to be one of those people that went up and went to the manager, because what are they going to do? Kick the parents out? They're not going to do that. It never happens. And I'm trying, like, really hard to sit in my chair, watch the movie, and not get up out of my chair and look at the kid and his parents and say to them, shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up! But I didn't do that. I didn't. No, because I'm a nice person. But it was tempting. It was very tempting to do that. So, and he would say stuff like every time Bond would say something, or Moneypenny would have a line, or Ray Fiennes would have a line, or Christoph Waltz would have a line, this kid would constantly repeat it. If you can imagine that. Every other line in this movie he repeated, and you're just like, Jesus Christ. Like, oh my God. I couldn't take it. This was a really... And, you know... Thank God I didn't have to pay anything. I didn't pay any money to see this, because I work in a movie theater, you know. I get free movies there, so I can see anything I want to, which is great. But, oh my God. Like parents... Leave your kids at home. I mean, if you can't afford a babysitter, or if you're too cheap to afford a babysitter, like, wait till the movie comes out on DVD or Blu-ray and watch it at your home. Like, I think that most people have forgotten that you're in a public area. You're not in your living room when you're in a theater. Like, you're not in your living room. Like, sit down, shut up, and if your kid doesn't shut up, take him out of the theater. Not once did these parents take their kid out of the theater into the lobby. Not once did they think, this kid's talking. I wonder if he's disturbing everybody else. And I wasn't the only one. I was looking around. Everybody was looking at this kid. So many people were trying to shut him up. And oh my God, it was insane. This kid would not shut the hell up. So, getting on to the movie. Yeah, that doesn't happen a lot with me, but this time it did, and I'm pretty sure it's happened to all of us, okay? Trust me, I know what you're going through. We've all been there. Excuse me. So, let's get on to the movie. So Spectre comes out. This is the 24th Bond movie. I'm not including the Sean Connery Never Say Never Again. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. It was made in the 80s when Roger Moore was doing the current Bond film. I think that might be the title of it. I'm not sure. But I'm not including that as a James Bond movie. It's not. It's not. No. It's there's 24 movies. Daniel Craig... I think he's pretty good as James Bond. I mean, like I remember when Casino Royale came out. I don't remember the movie, but at the time people were saying, "Oh, he's not James Bond. He's not." I remember people saying that, and he's not half bad. I think he's okay. You know, I mean, like for me, the person that will always be, because we always have that one actor who we believe is James Bond. It's usually the first movie that we watch, the first James Bond movie that we watch. Like, for some people it's Sean Connery, others it's Roger Moore. For me, it's Pierce Brosnan. Because GoldenEye, I just remember watching that as a 12-year-old kid and just freaking loving it so much. So, for me, Pierce Brosnan is James Bond. But Daniel Craig, he's pretty good. I mean, I've seen Casino Royale. That was amazing. Quantum of Solace I haven't seen. I hear a lot of people are mixed about that. Skyfall I liked a lot, and this movie I did like. Spectre was pretty good. So again, here come the spoilers. First of all, and I just want to say this, thank God that the producers of the movie and the studio behind it, they finally put the gun barrel at the beginning of the movie. Thank God! Because they haven't done that in, like, I can't even remember the last time they did it. They've been doing it at the end of the Bond movies, but why don't you do it at the beginning? That's how a Bond movie is supposed to start. Like, thank God they did it in the beginning this time. Like, the second that, you know, that white circle is going by the screen, I just got so hyped, and you hear the music, and like, oh, here we go. And you see Daniel Craig, he does this thing, and the blood comes down over the gun barrel, and the movie starts, and this tracking shot, oh my God, if you've seen this movie, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know how Sam Mendes did this. Can you imagine how much time and preparation they had to do to get that shot? I mean, think about it. They must have had, like, so much preparation for that, because the first 2 minutes of the movie, I don't think there's any edits. The first 2 minutes of this movie is just... It's the camera. It follows Bond. He's walking up the steps into this hotel. He's with this woman. He takes off his mask. You know, he's wearing the skeleton mask because it's the Day of the Dead parade in Mexico City, I think. And he leaves and he's walking on. He gets out the window and he's walking on the roof. And the camera, there's no edits. It's still following him. I mean, this is a better tracking shot than what Scorsese did in Goodfellas. I mean, it was that good. It was amazing. So it was great. The opening credit sequence is amazing. And let me tell you something about the song here, the Sam Smith song. I heard the song when it was released on iTunes about a month before the movie came out. I didn't like it. To be honest with you guys, I have no idea who Sam Smith is. I don't know the music talent these days. I really don't. I like music that I like, but I'm not saying the music of today is bad. Well, it kind of is, but I never heard of Sam Smith, and I heard this song, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, this isn't a good song. You know, I hope this isn't the opening credits song. I hope it's at the end of the movie, like during the end credits. And it wasn't. It was at the beginning credits. But you know, the funny thing is this: I heard the song, I didn't like it. I heard the song again to the credit scene at the opening credits. It kind of worked. I was actually surprised by that. It kind of works out. I'm sorry. I love the opening credits of the Bond movies. I mean, like, if you look at Dr. No, it's very 60s. Or it almost kind of looks like an Elvis Presley movie, the way Elvis Presley movies start out. If you look at Dr. No, and I think maybe From Russia with Love, like by the time we get to Goldfinger, that's when the opening credits started getting like really creative and like a lot of stuff about what you could do with opening credits. So it was quite impressive. one of the highlights of GoldenEye for me, I remember at age 12 looking at the opening credit scene for GoldenEye when that woman like turns around with the head and the gun comes out of her mouth. Like that was creepy, but it was also creative to a 12-year-old at the time. But over time, I've gotten used to, like, oh, this is part of the James Bond movies. They're all supposed to be like this. And since this is one of the first Spectre movies to come out in a while that involves Spectre, you know, the organization, because I don't think they've done a Spectre movie since Diamonds Are Forever. I could be wrong about that. I don't know. But I know it's the first... I think this is the first movie with Daniel Craig that has involved Spectre. So it's been a while. And I love that octopus that's going around, you know, like, oh my god, that was genius. Because, you know, that's what the logo is for Spectre. It's an octopus. But I love the way it was doing that. And the song, didn't like it at the time, but it kind of works with these opening credits. I just love that. I loved seeing that. I loved seeing Albert R. Broccoli's name on it and Ian Fleming's name on it and 007. And it was cool seeing this, you know, on the big screen, on an IMAX screen. It was really cool. So the movie starts, and I guess Judi Dench got tired of doing it because she's been involved since GoldenEye, I think. So it's been like 20 years or so. Bond, now, I think, from the plot, it's kind of hard for me to remember the plot. I saw this movie a couple days ago. I think what the plot is of this is that after Skyfall, I think what they want is they want Bond... Well, first of all, Bond gets grounded for the mayhem, I guess, he created in Mexico City, because there's this great scene with a helicopter. I'm not even going to spoil that, because you have to see that, okay? There is a subplot in this movie that's going on where I'm guessing one of the agents comes in and this person is trying to shut down he's trying to shut down the 00 program. He's trying to get rid of Q and M and Bond and all the other agents or something, I guess. And Bond has to go and... Oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting the plot about this movie. How can I forget the plot of this? Not to say the movie is forgettable. It's not. It's just been a couple of days. Okay, I'm going to talk about the performances, because I can't seem to remember it. But if you guys remember it, great. Christoph Waltz comes in, and he blows the frickin' show away as Blofeld. I mean, like, he was so good in this movie. He always is. I can't think of one bad Christoph Waltz movie. I mean, like, in everything he's in, he does great. I really like this guy, the new Q, because I know this guy came in on Skyfall, so he's the new Q. And I remember when Skyfall came out, a lot of people were pissed off about, you know, how can Q be this young kid? You know, like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, it kind of works out. You know, it works pretty well in this. The action scenes can get a little bit silly, but, you know, like, you come to expect that. Like, guys, there's a scene in this movie when they're in Austria in the mountains, and Bond is trying to get the love interest. I think her name is Madeline or something. She's the daughter of Dr. White, who he's trying to get information from this guy, and he has to protect his daughter, and she ends up becoming the love interest, or, in other words, another one of the Bond girls. And there's this scene where she's being taken hostage or something by these guys in a couple of Jeeps, and Bond is flying an airplane, and at this point he's going down the mountains chasing after them. And at this point in the chase scene, both wings have blown off, all the landing gear is gone, all that's left is the propellers going around. He goes right through a ski cabin, right through wood. The propellers are still going. It doesn't blow up. No, that doesn't happen. Not in a Bond movie, it doesn't. Because here's the thing. The plane will only... The plane or the helicopter or the automobile will only blow up if the script wills that. So, okay, so I'm pretty sure that's the way it goes. Because it doesn't blow up until after Bond gets out and takes out the guys. Then the plane blows up, of course. Of course, because we can't kill James Bond. We just can't. 24 movies in, I'm pretty sure we just can't. You really can't, because they gotta keep making more movies. So, Yeah, so, long story short about this movie, I really liked it, and there's been mixed reviews about this. I hear some people aren't enjoying this movie, maybe because there's a lot more action in it, because unlike Skyfall, this one does have a lot more action in it than it does talking and more of the dramatic scenes. There is this really good scene where he's fighting with one of the guys on a train, one of the bad guys that works for Spectre. I don't remember the guy's name. The guy did have it. I wasn't really paying attention to the names. I was just watching the movie, really. But I was invested into the story for what it was. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I thought Christoph Waltz was so good in this. For a Bond movie, it did run a little long, guys. I mean, it did. I mean, I think the movie's like, what, like 2 hours and 35 minutes, something like that? 30, like, something. Like, you could have cut at least maybe 20 minutes out of the film. You could have done that. I mean, like, here's the thing. There's a scene where Bond and, okay, you know, I know her last name is Swan. I know that. So, the two of them go over, and they see Christoph Waltz in the flesh right there. They see Blofeld, and you think the big battle's going to go on, and this whole organization is going to blow up. And it does. And then what happens? Like 20 minutes later, he catches up with Blofeld again, and then we get into the whole, you know, I've got your girl taken hostage. I got a bomb that's going to go off. This should have happened 20 minutes ago. But it happens 20 minutes later. And even then, like by that point, you just want the movie to end because it's been too long, you know? So, but for what it was, I did like it. I'm not going to say it's one of the best Bond movies. It isn't. I mean, but for what it was pretty good. I mean, hey, it wasn't Quantum of Solace. Now, I'm not judging Quantum of Solace. I just hear that a lot of people didn't like that one. But I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't really judge it. So yeah, Spectre, this was a really fun and entertaining movie. And even if you're not a James Bond fan, you'll still enjoy this. Because if you enjoy action movies, you're going to enjoy James Bond. Because, guys, action movies, like, guys, even comedies have ripped it off. I mean, like, in Live and Let Die, okay, with Roger Moore, there's a scene where he's in a chase with Yaphet Kotto from Alien. And Yaphet Kotto's the bad guy in that one. For those of you who haven't seen it, and they're all in these boats, and they're driving around in the boat. It's like a speedboat chase, and some of the bad guys get like thrown off, and the boats they're still in the boats. The boats are going up out of the river and onto grass, onto land, and disrupting a wedding. Hangover Part 2. Like, guys, every single movie that has ever had... Schwarzenegger movies, for God's sake, has ripped this off. The Austin Powers trilogy is a spoof of the James Bond movies, guys. Hell, the Austin Powers movies have used dialogue from the James Bond films. I'm not even kidding. Like, if anyone doesn't know that by now, you should. Like, it's actually amazing where action movies got most of their stuff from. I mean, like Air Force One. Like, there's a scene in Air Force... Hell, there's a scene in Spectre that feels like it was ripped off Air Force One. So when you think about it, Air Force One ripped off James Bond only to have James Bond rip off Air Force One. Like, you could say that for a lot of action movies here. Like, hell, even movies like Commando has done stuff like this. Beverly Hills Cop, the villain in Beverly Hills Cop. Didn't he seem more like a James Bond villain than he did a drug lord? And hell, he played a James Bond villain like 1 year later after that movie came out. I mean, like, it's all intertwined here. Everything is. So yeah, that's my review on Spectre. I enjoyed it, and I hope you guys do too. It was great seeing it on an IMAX theater, on an IMAX screen. They start pre-production on the next Bond movie next month. And I hope Daniel Craig comes back, because I do like him as James Bond. I do think he's pretty good. So yeah, that's my review on Spectre. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the next review. Later.